So this video talks about the machine language before we start doing mastering or getting expertised. The three major, not in a technical or a not a mathematical or in a statistical key skills, you should have in a key skills on something else other than the subject wise, which are problem understanding and logical thinking and analytical mindset. If you have this, then you can become more expertized if you have these skills. Basically, with the data you're playing, why, how, what, all these you will understand. So let me explain in this video what are these skills and what does that a mindset should be there. Like that, I'll explain. So first, let's understand the problem understanding. Any problem, once you become an expertise on the data science or Python or ML or anything, you are an engineer. So you need to understand what is a problem and why it is there. These are the two things you need to understand. What is a problem and why it needs to be solved. If you understand that why it is, needs to be solved, is there any benefit? You, as in a problem understanding, you should understand. So clearly identify what is a problem and what is your goal, meaning what is the objective to attain from taking the problem statement, what do you want to achieve. And of course, apart from programming, math, stats, and these skills, these basic skills, you should understand one more thing, which is domain. Most of the things I keep talking in my most of the videos, I keep talking about an insurance domain or a retail domain or a banking domain or any other supply chain domain, etc. So domains are those examples. So for this, to problem, first, what is a problem? And what is the context to it, and if I solve this problem, what is that I'm doing to the benefit to the customer or benefit to the particular logic or anything, you should understand. So you need to understand their inputs, their outputs, constraints, what is a success criteria path, what is a failure criteria path. This all is in problem understanding. In simple, what is a problem, if it needs to be solved, why it needs to be solved, that reason also it should, you should understand as a problem understanding. So that those two are very important. Of course, there are inputs, there are success criteria, there are negative criteria, etc. A lot of things will be there. So next key thing, key skill is logical thinking. Logical thinking means where you will start thinking of the problem on why, what happens if I solve this. So you understand the benefit of that problem. If you solve this, what is the benefit, you understand. But how to solve that problem is very important. How is very important. Meaning, in one step, you can't solve it. Or in different paths, there would be a critical path, there would be positive paths, there would be a negative paths. Result can be anything, either this way or this way you go, you get the result. But there is a limit for logic thinking where you follow in a step by step by finding the rules and applying them the rules, and then what are the conditions and satisfying and getting that conditions and structured reasoning. See, if I ask somebody, where is your nose, means you can show like this or you can show like this also, right? So similarly, any destination could be achieved either in a fraud way or in a positive way or in a negative way. Right. That's the reason logical thinking means in a daily life, I'm telling. Logical thinking means a step by step, which is having a process to it and rules to it and construct conditions to it and a structured reasoning for every step. If you have this logical thinking, then how to solve is easy. Logical thinking is deciding how to solve a problem using clear steps and conditions. Okay, this is a second skill required. First is understanding the problem statement and what and why it is beneficial with inputs, outputs, constraints, success criteria, etc. All those in the first problem understanding. Second thing comes on the logical thinking. And third is analytical mindset. So to become expertise in the machine language engineer, you should have an analytical mindset. That means obviously your data, you are talking about a data which is history is there. Some patterns, some trends, something is there which is inputting to you. So analyze that critically, why things happen this way, why things are not happening this way. You need to understand the patterns, tendencies, trends, and also outliners, meaning exceptional cases also will be there. For example, if a student doesn't attend the exams and doesn't attend the assignments or nor submits the projects in time, but he gets a 99 percentage, those are exceptional cases. So you need to draw those exceptional cases, need to identify those patterns. Similarly, in the products also, you observe the regular pattern. Few customers keep on buying weekly stuff or monthly stuff, regular items in a grocery item. If you see, if you enter into any grocery store, few items are default items, but at some customers, at a sudden, due to any some event or something, as some marriage in the family or something, they tend to buy more. So that is an exceptional case. You need to identify the outliner. That is, you need to identify the critical paths, outliners, exceptional cases, trends, and patterns with the old data set. This is an analytical mindset. Everything you have evidence. Simply draw evidence based conclusions rather than assumptions. Meaning, if you have the data, you are showing that this happened due to this reason. But at times, what happens practically? Data might be manipulated, or data might be in a source wherever you are picking might be in a corrupted data or in a false data or fraud data. So you should be aware of that data as well. If data is accurate, then your analytical mindset should have all these things. You need to identify basically patterns, trends, outliners, and the conditions, exceptional conditions, etc. So, in short, the definition of analytical mindset is understanding why something is happening using the data. With this data, why the hell the customer is buying more on grocery which is a human being can't eat? Is something happening in the house or what? Something like that. So, with data should speak about the evidence. So, that's about the analytical mindset. Now, let's understand all three. What are the steps? All three skills, what are the key steps? So, in step one, you will understand problem understanding. Three in parallel, I'm putting logical thinking and analytical mindset. In problem understanding, first step is define the problem clearly. And here in logical thinking, applying your logical thinking, you will identify goal. What is your objective? Then at the same in parallel analytical mindset, observe the data. From the data, you are observing the problem and goal and the data. What is that data? It is talking about. Then problem clearly, step two becomes set objective. What you wanted to understand. Then in logical thinking, what are my key inputs? What are my inputs? And why the data is showing like this? You should ask the question while doing the data analysis. Similarly, third step is understand the domain. As I told, along with stats, maths, programming, and these skills, logical, problem understanding, or analytical, you should know the domain also to become an AI engineer. So understand the domain and apply conditions. For example, if a product is given a discount on so and so product only, you will get some other product which is not relevant to this. Those you should understand. If you buy in a grocery, if you are getting in a non-grocery item, how these conditions are applied, on what conditions, all those, you should understand your domain and get that and break that into points. So with your data, you need to break that data into, that means it becomes a parameterized, something like that. And fourth one, you will understand who are your stakeholders, and you will give the flow accordingly and compare values. So in analytical, these are identified. Next, fifth step is identify inputs and output, handle edge cases, find patterns. Similarly, define constraints. What are the conditions? Decide output, detect outliners. From the outliners, meaning exceptional cases, you will do. Define success criteria. Validate the logic. Check cause versus effect. What is a cause? What is the effect? Data might not be right. This is a most problem in the data set. In analytical mindset, the data might not be showing the right result or right thing. You need to identify what is the cause and what is the effect. And define success criteria, we just spoke. Decide if ML needed, meaning whether you need to apply any model of the ML. Then final decision, evidence-based conclusion. Okay, we'll understand these are the 8 steps to follow whenever the problem statement you are solving as an ML engineer. So let's understand simple example with the same thing as a student performance, because I picked that student performance earlier in my example, right? So what is that I am trying to tell? First, you will define the problem. What is the define the problem here? Define the problem talks about um, defining the problem talks about, I did not adjust the screen, so that's the reason I have to pull this little longer so that you can see all 8 steps. Okay, done. So now let's go to the define the problem. First problem is student comparison problem. So what is our problem here? What is our problem? Student failing the exam is our problem. What is our goal? To identify whether they are pass or fail. Observe data marks. What are the marks? That's a simple statement. Now, what is our objective to identify? Goal is pass or fail. But what is that objective we have to do? Set objective. Predict at risk students. Meaning which all students are at risk is an objective. Goal is either pass or fail. But objective is predict at risk. Inputs are what? Marks and attendance. Once you get that, ask why the marks are low with the seeing the data. Meaning, why marks are slow? Is it because they did not understand, or what is that? Is it because aggregate is low, or subject wise low? All those you understand domain, which is education system. Then apply condition pass fail, meaning you are saying if this greater than 35 or whatever is there, that condition. Split subject wise. Is it overall fail or is it subject wise fail? All those you need to understand. Who are the students and the teachers are the stakeholders. If and else logic you have to do. And compare attendance levels. You will do compare the attendance. With the data only you are doing all this. Then fifth step, input, output, attendance, marks, result. Edge cases, high attendance, low marks. There could be these also, ulta conditions also. Every day, 100 percentage, but he is not passed. Too much hard working, but he is not able to pass through. So those also will be there. Low attendance and showing the trend. So for that also you should understand. These are called the outliners. Then constraints, exam rules, policies, find final pass result, detect outliners, success criteria, predict and validate, and give the attendance always marks. Finally, finally you are deciding what is it? Success criteria, prediction accuracy, and validate rules and attendance hash always. And you recommend What you are going to do with this, you will recommend as in a final step, decide if ML needed, meaning for this condition, I don't think so ML is required. But if the trend is normally in a linear or polynomial, if that is there, you can use. If it is in a huge data, if it is in a small data, of course, you use the ML. Final decision you do. And what is that you are telling? Event based, meaning evidence based conclusion you are giving. He attended all assignments, so he scored and on average 75 to 85%. So definitely he will be in the pass. He attended the attendance. He is not written the exam. However, he will be in less than 50% score. So you are identifying those things and coming to a conclusion whether he'll get the distinction or whether he will get first class or second class or third class or fail, depending on these conditions. This is something talks about problem. Let's take another example, which is similar thing, but different domain, which is about the loan approval, banking domain. Problem is loan defaults increasing, meaning whoever applying the loan could be an driver, it could be an a maid, it could be an a software engineer, it could be an a what is it? A newspaper boy or whoever is it is, or in a what do you say, hotel management, or in a entrepreneur, or anything it could be. So the default loans are getting increasing. Defaults loans are approved. So that is a problem. Why? So logical thinking is goal whether to approve or not. What is that? Observe data of defaults. Then reduce the risky loans. What is the objective behind this? Risky loans, because when you are start approving the loans and giving the loads of money to the end, irrespective of the income of the individual, if you're trying to release the amount, will be in the risk? Bank will be in the risk. So that's the reason this objective problem statement. So reduce risky loans. Inputs is what? Credit score, CIBIL score you call, right? Credit score and salary. Ask why defaults. Is it a manual error, or is it somebody relative or some XYZ referral or something like that, which are ignored and not updated in the DB or something. The data is not true. All those you need to understand the defaults. Then understand here the domain is nothing but banking domain. Then who can be eligible? Certain rules will be introduced by a bank with the income on an average. If you are living in that particular city, in that particular town, in that particular village, how much money you need to for your survival, and then how much you need for your clothing, etc. All those are considered. Then are you your salary is more than that or not? Are you do you have any other loans like personal loans in multiple banks? Everything, all those are considered. Then eligibility rules are nothing but these are the eligibility rules. And income, how much income you are drawing. And segment customers, you will segment the customers depending on your scorecard or salary. Okay, all these you will segment the customers. Then identify the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Bank employees and customers. Decision flow. If score is this, if is a city of this or origin of this class or origin of this property, then what he is doing, all those, his profession, his father's profession, everything, the tree, entire tree is searched and put into that. So all these comes as a thing. And compare defaulters. So problem is coming with the defaulters only. So the data is not doing the right job here. So definitely, meaning by default, people are approving and it is getting approved without any data. Why it is approved? It could be a referral, it could be an influence, it could be something else, or it could be an some relative, something, all those it could be. Input, output, income, score, decision. Like this, edge cases also, low score, high risk, but you still loan is approved. So all these human errors, whichever are given, can be ignored by this logical thinking. Understand the data. And finally, all those 8 steps, decide ML needed. ML is definitely required here. And final approval. You should go to any hierarchy. For every hierarchy, it should be gone. The loan approval is not done at the low level. It has to go till bank manager and interbank manager, and then all the rules are set and multiple reviews have happened in the from within the bank. Then all together can approve certain rules. Those could be the rules. Okay, validate rules. I said no, those rules should be there. Then you will give an evidence proof conclusion. Like this, you can do, for example, if you're applying for an insurance at the age of 45 plus or 50 plus, something like that. If you are trying to take an insurance, people ask you medical report. Why? Because if you're applying at the age of 25 or something, no medical test is required. That means it is indication of you might have it at that age already a BP or sugar or thyroid. These are the minimum things which will be there. So depending on that, your risk of getting your insurance, health insurance, where it's risky, meaning it is not easy you will get the insurance for your age. That means first default, meaning you will be in the rejected default way. It is not in a default reject, it is in a condition which is there as by company. So like this, another example I just told. So if you have these skills and thought process, if you are giving for such things, then you are eligible for learning the ML engineer. So this is the first skill you should have as an ML engineer, meaning always you should understand a problem. What is a problem? Why is a problem? If I do solve the problem, what is the benefit I'm getting? Why the hell I have to clear the problem? What is a benefit a customer or any domain, depending on the domain, what is that benefit is happening? So 7 whys and 1 how and why, one when, if you do it, so you will understand the complete logical logical mindset is nothing but understanding the history. History might be wrong or history might be manipulated, but you should have any clear outliners of those. Okay, that is something you have to have that skill in analyzing that. If you understand this, you are expert. You will have the you are going to crack your ML engineering very easily, because if this mindset is there, automatically you will learn ML processes, whatever models you have, multiple models are there, like K means regression, like that, many are there. Classification, regression, a lot of things are there. So it will be easy for you if you use that, and which model to be applied also you can understand easily. Okay, for that, with this, I will conclude this. These are the other skills. I will put it as a different category called other skills, because apart from programming, DB or math, stats or domain, these are other skills which are important as a foundation. You should know this. Done. Thank you.